Hello, it's Ness Tilson here. Here's a little video to answer a question given to me by Carol, who was asking how to make a worktop that we can put on some base cabinets, but the worktop should have a solid wood edging. And what she wanted was not only a solid wood edging, but the possibility that the edging had an overlap, and so that we could add so that the back of the worktop could be tiled, and the edge, the solid wood edging, would just be the edge of the tiling. So how do we do this in Polyboard? Well, I showed you in another video how to use Polyboard's worktop functions, which are pretty good for just adding a worktop. But if you want a worktop made of two parts, there's another way of doing it, which is maybe a bit easier. Let's have a look. So if I get rid of my worktop here, let's say I just want to get rid of this worktop and I want to make another one. So what do? The first thing I do is let's have a look at our project here without a worktop. Here we have our project without a worktop. So what I do, first thing as I do, I'm going to create a model. That is, I'm going to add a new, let's change the language here because we're in French. Let's go back into English, and let's create a new model. And let's use this model as to build our worktop. Now, this is a model which just came in like this. Let's now, on this model, let's get rid of everything except the top, which we'll be using as a worktop. Okay, let's get rid of everything at the top. The top, we're going to make it the material of the worktop. So I'm going to click on it, select it, and make it a worktop material. I have here a worktop, 28mm worktop material. And the size of this top is going to be the size of the worktop. So the top is actually, as there's nothing but the top is the actual size of the model. So let's see in the project, let's take the measuring tool here and see how long we want the worktop. So we want the worktop to be 3.25 meters. So if I go back into here and I say I want the width of the worktop to 3.25 meters, the height of the worktop will have to be the height of the base of a cabinet. Let's take the height of a cabinet. Let's click the measuring tool, and let's just click on any simple base cabinet and look at its height. The height here is 800mm. So for the worktop that I'm going to make, what I need, the height of my virtual bit of furniture with the worktop on it, I want it to be 800mm plus the thickness, the total thickness of the worktop. If I want my total thickness, that is the thickness of the edging, to be 40, I want to put in 840. And the depth of my worktop, let's have a look at, if I take the depth of my worktop, if my furniture is, taking the measuring tool here, it's 580, if I want an overlap of 42, that will make me 620. It will be the depth of my worktop. Depth 620. So we have a worktop here now. Now this is very good. I mean, we've got a neat worktop and with right thickness. The total height here is in fact not the total height of this bit of this cabinet is the total height of my base cabinets plus the thickness of the worktop. The worktop total thickness being the thickness of the edging, not the thickness of this board here. So how do I add the edging onto it? Well, add the edging, I click on the top and I say structure, inner tooling. I add an inner tooling, and the inner tooling I'm going to add a rectangular inner tooling. The height of this rectangular inner tooling is going to be the total width of my edging. I'm counting on using 40mm by 40mm edging. And the width of the edging is in fact, in the tooling here, is going to be 325, which is 3,250, sorry, which is the total length of my worktop. But I want to put this is going to represent the position of my edging. So I want to put it, in fact, I'll take my tool reference as the lower center of this lower edge and the panel reference lower central edge, and I'm going to put it at 0 so that it's actually sitting on the front where I want my edging. Another thing which you have to be careful about when you do it, setting up this inner tooling, is give it a depth, and the depth you want it to be exactly the same depth as the thickness of your material you're using for the worktop. That is the material we're going to add the tiling onto. Click OK. And now if we look carefully, we can see that we have here, in fact, the worktop, but with a part which is missing where the edging has to go. If I click on my worktop here, I can see that there is now inner tooling as one of the properties I can add to the actual worktop. If I click on inner tooling and it says that the actual material is not existing, that it is a nil material, but let's now put a real material into it, because Polyboard allows us to take an inner tooling and then add in that virtual space another material. So let's take the material, and not by default it puts the worktop at 28mm to be tiled, but what I want to do is take another material I've prepared and use, which I call Worktop Edging 40x40. Now as you see, Polyboard has added the edging material 40x40 section here, has pushed down the whole worktop so that we now have 800mm high, this whole top bit of furniture, and this is really good. Now let's get rid of this model. Let's go out of the model and say we want a worktop with edging. Okay, and now we have a worktop with edging in our models list. If I just take, let's take a bit of it back. If I take my worktop with edging model, let's get rid of my dimensioning tool, worktop with edging, I could just come and clip it into place, and now we actually have that worktop like I showed you at the beginning, which is quite neat. So we have a worktop here which will now be set up in the cutting list as a worktop here, which is to be tiled, 28mm thick, and a edging of 40x40, leaving just a little rebate here for putting the tiles, and very neat, eh? Okay, thanks for looking, and I hope that's been interesting for you, and see you again in another video. Bye.